For thousands of years, there's been a system of medicine that sees the female body not as a collection of parts, but as this deeply interconnected, dynamic landscape. Today, we're going to dive into that ancient perspective.
So let me ask you this. What if we reimagined the monthly cycle? Instead of just thinking about hormones and chemical reactions, what if you pictured it as a symphony? A really complex, coordinated performance with different musicians, a conductor, and a rhythm that tells a story about your health. That's the core idea we're exploring.
To really understand the symphony, we first have to look at the stage where it's all performed. And that's where traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, comes in. It offers a totally different framework for looking at female physiology.
Okay, so check this out. It's a tale of two perspectives. The modern view that we're all pretty familiar with, it's all about hormones. But in TCM, the physiology for women is blood-centered. And when we say blood here, we're not just talking about the red stuff in our veins. It's this vital, nourishing substance that is the absolute foundation for everything. Menstruation, fertility, pregnancy, the whole shebang.
So if blood is the foundation, where exactly does this symphony take place? Well, that brings us to some really key structures in TCM gynecology, the palace and its pathways.
In TCM, the uterus has this beautiful name, the Bao Gong, which means child palace. That name alone tells you how differently it's viewed, right? It's not just an organ, it's a special, precious place. It's the central venue, the concert hall, where that vital blood is stored for menstruation or to nurture a fetus.
But here's the thing, this palace is not isolated. It is completely wired into the entire system. Think of it like this. There's a special connection, the Bao Mai, that links it to the heart, and another one, the Bao Lua, that links it to the kidneys. And this isn't just some abstract idea. Get this, an emotional shock can literally block that Bao Mai connection, causing irregular periods. It's a direct physical link between our feelings and our cycle.
Now let's switch gears and talk about timing. Because in TCM, life isn't random. It's believed to unfold according to a very specific rhythm, kind of like a biological clock. And this rhythm is all dictated by a substance called Tian-Gi, or heavenly dew. If our cycle is a symphony, then you can think of Tian-Gi as the sheet music. It's what the whole orchestra follows. What's wild is, you're not born with it. It matures over time, driven by the energy of your kidneys. Its arrival kicks off reproductive life, and its departure signals the end of that chapter. For women, this story unfolds in these neat 7-year cycles. Around age 14, Tian-Gi arrives, and menstruation begins. By 21, your kidney energy, your core vitality, is at its absolute peak. Then around age 28, the body is at its strongest. And then, much later, around age 49, that heavenly dew is depleted, the pathway is empty, and menopause begins. All right, so we have our venue, the palace, we have the communication lines, and we have the sheet music. So what's missing? The musicians! It's time to meet the organ orchestra. And just a quick note, when we say organ in TCM, we're talking about a whole system of functions, not just the physical thing you'd find in an anatomy book.
First up, we've got the rhythm section, the powerhouse, the kidneys. In TCM, the kidneys are the absolute root of your vitality. They store something called Jing, or your constitutional essence. The best way to think about it is like your ancestral energy reserve, the deep cycle battery you're born with. This Jing is what fuels Tian-Gui and creates menstrual blood, providing the fundamental power that sets the tempo for the entire cycle.
You can see right here how the kidneys provide both the material substance, the essence, and that warming dynamic energy, the yang, that's needed to get the cycle going. If you're running low on either of those, you might see things like scanty menses or a delayed cycle. They are truly the power source for the whole performance.
Next up in the orchestra, we have the liver. Think of the liver as the traffic controller. Its main job is to make sure everything flows smoothly. Your qi, which is your body's vital energy, and your blood. It stores the blood, and then right on cue, it releases it for menstruation. Now, if the liver's function gets stuck or constrained, you might experience things like PMS, clots, or painful periods. Sound familiar? The key word here is flow. There's a famous saying in TCM that goes, when the qi flows, the blood follows. The liver is totally responsible for this smooth movement. When it's doing its job well, the cycle is on time, and it's pain-free. Okay, now for the spleen. If the kidneys are the foundation, think of the spleen as the builder or the factory. Its function is to transform the food we eat into new qi and blood, so it's constantly replenishing the supply.
But it also has this vital holding function. It keeps blood inside the vessels to prevent excessive bleeding, and it keeps organs like the uterus lifted up and securely in place. Yeah, the carpenter analogy is just perfect. The spleen builds the blood and also makes sure the whole structure is sound. That holding function is absolutely critical for keeping the uterus in place. If there's a weakness here, it could lead to things like heavy, long periods or just feeling totally exhausted. And finally, every symphony needs a conductor. In this orchestra, that's the heart. The heart governs the blood, and it also houses the shen, which you can think of as your mind and your spirit. It's the heart that sends that crucial signal down the baomai to the uterus to get the period started. The heart is the metronome, and its rhythm is so deeply connected to our emotional state. This is why you can think of it as our emotional barometer. An emotional shock can literally disrupt that signal and throw the whole cycle into chaos. And it's not just sudden shocks. Long-term stress can deplete the heart's energy, leading to issues like heavy bleeding. It just shows how directly the mind and the cycle are linked.
Okay, let's bring this all home. We've met all the individual players in the orchestra. Now let's watch the full performance and see how it all comes together.
And here it is, the full ensemble. You've got the kidneys providing the deep fuel, the liver moving all the gears, the spleen building the structure, the lungs supporting the energy, and right at the center, the heart, our conductor, setting the timing and giving the signal to begin. When they all work together in harmony, the result is a regular, robust cycle.
This table is a really practical way to start listening to your own body's music. The very beginning of your period, you can think of that as the heart's signal. The volume and the flow, that tells you a story about the liver's ability to move things along and the spleen's power to hold. And that overall regularity, that deep monthly rhythm, well, that's the kidney clock keeping time.
Which really brings us to our final thought. Instead of seeing our cycles as just a problem to be managed, this perspective invites us to listen. It asks us to see our bodies as a source of incredible information, a symphony that's always communicating its needs through its unique rhythm and flow. So the question is, what can we learn if we just start paying attention to the music?